Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is iMac Sports with another football video, and today I'm talking about why the Cincinnati Bengals will win Super Bowl 57 this season. This is another installment in the series where I'm going over each of the major contenders for the Super Bowl this year, talking about some of the reasons why they have teams that can go very far in the playoffs or have a significant chance to win the Super Bowl. Last year, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. They won the AFC Championship game, and this year they added a few more pieces that I think will really make them serious contenders once again this season. So let's get right into it. First off, we have the wide receivers. The Bengals have some of the best wide receivers in the league, arguably the best wide receiver core in the NFL. Led by Jamar Chase, rookie last season, second-year player this year, out of LSU, just like Joe Burrow. He had a phenomenal rookie season, over 1,500 yards last year and a good number of touchdowns to boot. They also have T. Higgins, who had a great season last year. He's also a very young player. And Tyler Boyd, who's been on the Bengals a little bit longer, but all of these players are born and bred Bengals. And they've all had very strong careers so far. They've all had 1,000-yard seasons, and they've worked really well together. I think that going forward, the fact that Joe Burrow has all three of these guys that he's worked with for both of the years that he's been in the organization, and the speed that they have on offense really does give them one of the best offenses in the league, just from a passing perspective, and I haven't even talked about rushing. You also have Hayden Hurst. They no longer have C.J. Uzomah, but Hayden Hurst is a phenomenal tight end who used to be with the Atlanta Falcons and is now with the Cincinnati Bengals. He was with the Ravens for 2 years, Falcons for 2 years. 2020, he had a really good season, and then last year he missed a few games. But either way, he's still a phenomenal player. And the fact that he's also on the Bengals gives a little bit more depth to the Bengals offense with the fact that Uzomah is now missing. And I think that the Bengals have one of the best passing games in the league between Joe Burrow and these wide receivers. And I think that Joe Burrow could be fighting for an MVP vote next year. Speaking of, Joe Burrow had a phenomenal season last year as his first full season as a starter. His rookie year, he had a pretty solid start, but he did get injured. In his 10 games, he had 270 yards a game, 13 touchdowns, and 5 picks, which is not the best stat line ever, but it's definitely not bad. Last year, he definitely bumped it up quite a bit. He had 4,600 yards in his 16 games. He had 14 touchdowns. He had 34 touchdowns and only 14 interceptions. With a pass rating of 108.3. He was first place in pretty much every efficiency standard, and I think that that's one thing about young players is if you can be an efficient passer and an efficient ball mover on the field, then your team is going to do very well. A lot of quarterbacks go for flashy plays. They do very well. They're not as efficient. Mac Jones is a game manager. He's not as efficient. Joe Burrow is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league, and I think that the fact that he has all these players that he can rely on, that he's played with for years, is definitely going to benefit him in the long run and this season. To help out Joe Burrow and his upcoming season, we have the offensive line, the new and revamped offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals. They have Ted Karras, center from the New England Patriots, Alex Kappa from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Lyle Collins from the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, they still have Jonah Williams, and Cordell Volson is a new rookie that they just picked up from the 4th round of the draft. But they basically revamped their entire offensive line, and 2 of these players have worked with Tom Brady. Tom Brady is one of the biggest sticklers in the NFL for his offensive line. He always needs to have protection, and he doesn't like getting hit. And Joe Burrow now has 2 of his former offensive linemen. Obviously, they're not the best offensive linemen ever from the Patriots or from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they're still very solid choices, and they'd be better than a lot of other players that you could get. Lyle Collins has been on the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have always had a phenomenal running game, and I think that he's going to be a big impact on Joe Mixon and the ability to get Joe Mixon some open holes in the running game. Having him at the right tackle position opens up a lot on the right. Having Alex Kappa also at the right tackle position, I can see them rushing to the right a lot this year, and I think that Mixon's ability to go up the middle, up the right, and even it'll make the left side weaker if they get a really strong initiative on the right side that people are trying to go after. And I think that the combination of all these new offensive linemen with Joe Mixon is crucial for their success. Obviously, they have an amazing passing game, but Joe Mixon had a really breakout year last year. Last season, he had 292 carries for over 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns. He also caught 42 catches for 314 yards, giving him 1,519 total yards and 16 touchdowns, with an average of 4.5 yards per touch. Very strong season for a running back. He's had strong seasons in the past. 2018 and 2019 specifically were very strong. He had 1,400 yards and almost 10 touchdowns both of those years. 2020 he was injured, and 2017 he was a rookie, but he still had pretty solid years both of those seasons. If Joe Mixon can stay healthy next year, then this is arguably the best offense in the NFL. Joe Mixon really was able to reach his full potential for the first time last year. He hasn't really done that in the past. 2018 was a solid year, but he wasn't as big a red zone threat as he was last season, both in the rushing and the passing game. And I think that having Joe Mixon and Sanjay Pirine, who has been around in the league a couple times and is a phenomenal running back as a backup that can get you a lot of versatility, I think that the combination of those two, along with the fantastic receiving core and a growing but strong offensive line, is going to give Joe Burrow a lot of options. Last but certainly not least, we have to talk about the Bengals defense. I put Trey Hendrickson as the picture here because he was the star player for the Bengals last year. He made the Pro Bowl. And although the Bengals don't have the best defense in the league, it's a young, growing defense. And last year they were ranked 18th, 19th in the league. They definitely improved during the playoffs because they needed to in order to win games. I think that they have a lot of room to improve, and I think that they're going to make some of those adjustments throughout the season. They have Chidobe Awuzie, they have Von Bell, they have Jesse Bates, they have Trey Hendrickson, they have DJ Reader, they have Sam Hubbard, a lot of Logan Wilson, a lot of big-name people that you kind of hear their name, but you don't really know a whole lot about them because they either exploded onto the scene or they haven't reached their full potential yet. They're big draft names. Another big draft name was Eli Apple, who a lot of people make fun of. But I think that there's a lot of talent on this Bengals defense, a lot of untapped potential that I think that this season they're going to really start forming and molding and tapping into some of that defensive potential. I think that this could be a top 15 or even top 10 defense for the season coming up. And if you can get this high caliber offense matched with a top 10 defense, then it's going to be a force for people to stop in the AFC this season. So that's why I think that the Cincinnati Bengals are serious contenders for the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 57. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new to the channel and you want to see more content like this, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.